Welcome to Leadership Devotionals. And we are now on the second installment, Women on Leadership. Our series for today is Women on Leadership. And we have been talking about Miriam. And we were just, last time, in the last episode, we talked about Miriam's role in the Exodus, how she led the children of Israel. Just imagine that, 2 million, according to scholars. There are more or less around 2 million of this Israelites group that crossed the Red Sea. And it was Miriam who led them in singing the song of deliverance from the soldiers of Pharaoh. And so today, let's continue to dig more about Miriam. That will inspire us. That will inspire our women leaders as they continue to lead amidst all the challenges we face. Miriam was Jochebed and Amram's firstborn. By being a firstborn, she is already a natural leader. And once the exodus from Egypt commences, the focus of attention is generally on the lives, of course, of her two brothers. It was her two brothers who keep on going back and forth to Pharaoh, remember, if you can remember the story. But God insists, and we can read this in Micah chapter 6 verse 4, okay? So this is the writing of a prophet hundreds of years after the Exodus. And it says here, but God insists, for I brought you out from the land of Egypt, I redeemed you from the house of bondage, and I sent before you Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. Miriam was specifically mentioned here by Micah. And this just simply goes to show the important role this woman leader have during the sojourn in the wilderness in the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt to the Promised Land. Another text includes a telling genealogical notation suggesting Miriam's stature among the covenant people. If you're just a nobody, nobody's going to mention you. But if you're someone with stature, if you have done something significant, if you're a leader, authors, historians will definitely take note of you, will mention your name. And this is what happened in 1 Chronicles chapter 6 verse 3. She is listed as a child of Amram, and the words thus, the children of Amram, Aaron, Moses, and Miriam. 1 Chronicles 6 verse 3. Now, what is so particular about this? If she was mentioned, why? The fact that Miriam is mentioned among Amram's son in an entire chapter of fathers and male sons. Okay? The entire chapter is filled with names of fathers and male sons. But when Amram was mentioned, Miriam was included there among the children. This surely confirms her prominence among all the covenant people. Her death and burial are also recorded. It is noteworthy that, whereas other figures mentioned in the Exodus narratives disappear without their deaths being mentioned, the inclusion of Miriam's death in Numbers 20 verse 1 highlights also her significance as a leader. So Miriam's stature and importance during the Exodus must not be underestimated. Indeed, most of the passages in the Pentateuch that mention Miriam by name represent her or project her as a leader. Among the leadership principles notable in the experience of Miriam, and so here, my fellow leaders, these are what we can learn from this woman leader. Yes, among the notable leadership principles that we can learn from her, it is communication. Miriam is a communicator par excellence. We can see that when he led the Israelites to sing the song of deliverance after the Red Sea. But here in this particular instant, let me mention to you that we will consider first the natural intelligence, wisdom, and composure she was blessed with that accompanied her leadership trait. When she observed, okay, she was there in the Nile, hiding among the reeds and watching over her little brother, her baby brother, who was there in a boat that was made by their mother to hid from the soldiers of Pharaoh. When she observed that the daughter of Pharaoh had discovered her infant brother floating in the baskets among the reeds, she quickly discerned the compassion of the woman. She was a good reader of other person. She quickly discerned the compassion of the woman, and with that insight, she offered, how quick-witted was she? She offered a solution that could spare her brother's life. The encouragement Pharaoh's daughter needed just at that very moment. When she said, recorded in Exodus chapter 2 verse 7, when she said, "Shall I go and call a nurse for you?" You see, Pharaoh's daughter opened the basket and there was cute baby Moses. Probably she cried and we don't know what happened, but immediately Pharaoh's daughter was enamored with Moses there. And so when Miriam saw this compassion, she immediately rushed out from the reeds and said, "Shall I call a nurse for you, for this baby?" Just imagine that. Further, she had the confidence to present her mother as the nurse without showing any indication of her initiative to reunite the infant Moses with his natural mother. Such kind of action is very, very vital in future leadership roles that Miriam would have. Being quick-witted, being intelligent and wise, being courageous to go out from the reeds and approach the princess, and having the initiative, the innovativeness to reunite the baby with his natural mother. Miriam's song on the edge of the sea expresses the joy of deliverance, suggests the inspiration of God, joined with her own intelligence and creativity. The song offered leadership through casting a vision of God's providence in the future of Israel. That vision had been formed and nurtured, of course, by God's calling of Moses and by God's demonstration of His presence in the signs and wonders accompanying the Exodus. The people embraced the vision of God's calling to some limited degree through struggling with faith and human hesitancy. But Miriam offered not only a refrain of creative praise, but she also confidently led the women of Israel in a celebrative moment as they sang together to deepen their shared confidence in their God, the Deliverer. Miriam's abilities were blessed by God and become creative gifts to advance a vision of His will. She cast this God-honoring vision with unusually artful and creative ability, demonstrating her leadership skills as a communicator. Sing to the Lord, for He has triumphed gloriously. The horse and its rider He has thrown into the sea. That's in Exodus 15:21. Beautifully worded. Today, believers in God still recite the lines of Miriam's song to strengthen their faith in God. Fellow leaders, Miriam is showing us here an example of uniting our leadership skills with God's vision. And by doing so, we inspire the people around us. We increase their faith. And those who are struggling with hesitancy, we remove those kinds of barrier. And this is what Miriam did. God honored her traits and abilities and enhanced it so that God's vision for His covenant people, for the Israelites nation, will be fulfilled through the song, through the creativity, through the art, through the music of Miriam. May we be, fellow leaders, be good communicators, artful, innovative, courageous, and faithful. Be like Miriam as we continue on to lead God's people. God bless you. Hello, fellow leaders. If you have been blessed with the devotional that you have just heard, don't forget to like, share, or subscribe. Because when you do that, more people, more leaders will be blessed with the same blessing that you have experienced. In YouTube channel, click subscribe to Good Shepherd Consultants. God bless you.